In this video, I'll look at the options of diffusing the flash on the Instax Mini 11 to get more pleasing pictures. The Instax Mini 11 and the Instax Mini 40 are exactly the same camera in just a different shell, so everything that applies to the Instax Mini 11 as far as taking pictures also applies to the Instax Mini 40. First, as a control, I took a standard pictures using the selfie function, and here's the result I got. The face is pretty nicely exposed, but it's a little bit too bright on the forehead, and the background is nicely exposed. So I used the slow shutter sync to get a nicely exposed foreground, and also got a little bit of light in the background. So what I wanted to do is to soften the output from the flash just a little bit to eliminate the hot spots on his forehead, just to get a more pleasing, even look on his entire face. Diffusing the harsh light from flashes is not a new concept. This is a standalone Godox flash that I use with my Canon cameras. So this has a built-in diffuser panel like here. So if you want a little bit wider coverage or a little bit softer light, you can pop this diffuser over it and it should soften the light a little bit. For the first picture, I took a standard bubble wrap that comes in when you get a package, and then I put it over the flash just like this to try to diffuse the flash output a little bit. What's a little bit complicated about this is when you do it like this, you cover the viewfinder, so it's really hard to frame your subject. And also you need to be really careful not to cover the flash and the light sensors, because if you cover these, you'll get completely messed up pictures. They'll be overexposed or too dark. It's just not gonna work. So these two sensors need to be exposed. So it's not the most easy thing to do. So you have to kind of hold it or frame it the shot first, and then put the bubble wrap over the flash and then take the shot. And also you need to make sure that you don't cover the lens, because if you cover the lens, obviously the picture will not turn out well. Here's the shot I took with just a little bit of bubble wrap over the flash. There's almost no difference between the control and this picture. I think the light is a little bit softer on his face, and I think the neck is a little bit darker, but the difference is definitely not massive. So we need to do more to get a stronger effect. For the next picture, I folded up the bubble wrap in a lot more layers, just like this, and then I put it over the flash and took another picture. I think this decreases the output from the flash quite a bit. I'm not sure if it really diffuses the flash or just reduces the output of the flash overall, but you definitely see a bigger difference this time. So here's the result when I put a lot of bubble wrap over the flash. The picture is definitely a little bit darker. It might be also due to the fact that the subject is a little bit further from the camera this time, but overall the effect is still not super strong. So I think the bubble wrap doesn't really work all that well. It does have a little bit of effect, but it's not huge. One thing to note is that between the control picture and the pictures taken with the bubble wrap, the background stays the same. So what you can see that what we are doing is just modulating the amount of flash on the subject's face. In the picture where I used 4 layers of bubble wrap, the amount of light from the flash is significantly reduced. So I think the camera used a longer shutter speed, and you can see a little bit more motion blur in the face. For the next idea, I wanted to bounce the flash. Here's a standalone flash, and usually this is a classic configuration. So the flash head flashes straight into a subject, and you get a really strong hard light on your subject. What a lot of professional photographers do, especially wedding photographers, they bounce the flash. So it's super easy with these standalone flashes, because you just rotate the head like this up top, and then when you take the picture, the flash fires, the light goes from the top of the head straight into the ceiling. So this generally works only with white ceilings or light colored ceilings, and then the whole ceiling gets illuminated, and then the light comes down from the ceiling, and it's a nice big diffused light, and it usually looks really good. I'm going to try the same idea with the Instax to see if that works. So what I did is to take standard piece of white paper, angle it in front of the camera like this. So what happens now is the flash fires, it fires into the white piece of paper. It can't get through the paper, so it goes straight into the ceiling and then illuminates the ceiling nicely, and then the soft light from the ceiling comes down on my subject, and I get a nice soft light on the subject. At least that was the idea. And here's the result. You can see it didn't really work all that well. The subject is too dark, and it's not nicely illuminated. You can see in this picture that the background is still nicely illuminated, but there's just not enough light on the face of the subject. It's just a little bit too dark. If I could get more light on it, I think it would look pretty good. But also a lot of the light is coming from the top, which is not super appealing. You see a lot of shadows on his neck, so it's not a good picture. I probably wouldn't recommend this method. I think the problem with bouncing the flash from the Instax Mini 11 is that the Instax Mini 11 has a pretty wide angle lens. So if you're trying to take portraits, you have to be pretty close to the face of your subject, and there isn't just enough room between the flash and the subject. So there's not enough room for to kind of put in your diffuser and then have enough space for the light to go up and then down. If the subject was a little bit further, let's say 10 feet away, I think you can illuminate the whole room, and then I think it would look much better. So that would work pretty well for groups, but I think then you get into a problem is that the flash from the Instax Mini 11 is just not strong enough to illuminate the whole room. So this whole bouncing flash idea probably is not gonna work for the Instax Mini 11 unless you use the external flash. And for the last picture, I cut up a green juice bottle. So I cut out this little piece of green plastic and I put it over the flash when I took a picture. The idea is that the light from the flash would now turn green, and I will get kind of this incredible Hulk type of effect on the portrait. So it definitely did work. The picture definitely has a green tint, but it's not as strong of a green tint as I would like. It kind of looks like just like a poor quality of light. He is a little bit greenish, but it's not like super green, like Hulk green. It just looks like kind of like a not well color balanced picture. You can kind of play around with this. I think green is not great for portraits. If you had like orange color or yellow or red, I think that would look a little bit better. But yeah, it's something to experiment with. These type of gels for flashes do come with some other Instax cameras, like the Lomo cameras. So this is not a completely new idea. But you definitely have to experiment with this a little bit to see what kind of effect you like. I wouldn't recommend green for portraits. As I said, more warm colors might look cool, but you can also burn a lot of film trying to get this to where you want it to be. But if you want to experiment, definitely collect some colored plastic, put over the flash and see what you get. It could be really fun at parties. Overall, I would say the experimenting with trying to diffuse the flash wasn't super successful. The flash location is kind of awkward, so when you're trying to put something over the flash, you have to be careful not to cover the viewfinder or the lens or the light sensors here. So it's a little bit tricky to do. Also, the flash is not super powerful, so that kind of limits your options, and also everything is automatic. So if you want to experiment with this, you can definitely try it on your own. If you think your flash is just a little bit too strong, maybe one thing you can do is just put some one layer of white tape to decrease the amount of output from the flash a little bit. So that might work quite well. If you want colored flash pictures, you can easily put a piece of colored plastic that you can get from like a drink bottle over the flash, and that works pretty decently well. You can just cut out a little small piece and then tape it on top and bottom, and that's super easy to work with. But overall, if you want to experiment, you can try, but don't really expect like amazing improvement in quality of the pictures. The camera does a really good job just on its own without any modifications, so have fun and keep shooting. See you next time.